I'm a 27-year-old guy, and I met my, probably soon-to-be ex-boyfriend Alex, who's 29, a couple of years back through a mutual friend. At the time, I didn't think for a second that he'd ever be into me, mostly because, up until then, he'd only dated women. Not long after we met, though, he came out as bisexual to me and some of our friends. That same night, he sort of hinted that he was attracted to me. Things slowly developed between us. We started hanging out more often, getting closer, and eventually we became a couple. Alex has always been a genuinely kind, thoughtful person. He's quiet and introverted, but once you get past that wall, he's got a huge heart and this passionate, geeky side when he talks about the things he loves. For a long time, I really believed he was the guy I'd end up marrying. But after what happened recently, I don't think I see that future anymore. So last Monday was my birthday. I left work early, excited to spend the evening with Alex. I had told him earlier in the day that I'd be coming home early so we could go out and celebrate. But when I walked through the front door, I stopped dead in my tracks. There he was, lying on the couch, with some woman I'd never seen before literally straddling him. They were fully clothed, but still, it was a jarring scene. I froze. My body didn't even know how to react. When Alex finally noticed I was there, he looked startled, but there was something off. It almost looked like he was trying not to laugh. The woman on top of him looked like she was stifling a laugh too. Then I started hearing voices coming from the kitchen and from our bedroom. Before I could even make sense of anything, Alex called out, "You guys can come out now." Suddenly, our friends started spilling out of the other rooms, laughing, holding gifts, party poppers, and a birthday cake. They shouted, "It's a prank! Happy birthday!" and popped the confetti like it was some kind of twisted surprise party. That moment yanked me back to reality, and without saying a word, I turned around, walked right out the door, and left. I didn't even see their faces as I walked out, but I heard a bunch of panicked voices, somebody saying, "Oh no," and another calling, "Wait." But I didn't look back. I picked up my pace, got into my car, and drove away. While I was driving, my phone started going off like crazy: texts, calls, DMs from Alex and all our friends. It was so overwhelming that I just turned the damn thing off. I ended up checking into a hotel a good distance away, and once I got into the room, I collapsed on the floor and sobbed. I cried so hard I must have passed out because when I opened my eyes, it was already morning. The next thing I did was message my team lead to let her know I wouldn't be coming in for a few days due to an emergency. She was kind about it and approved the time off, probably could tell something was wrong just from how weak and hoarse my voice sounded. Right now, my plan is to talk to my aunt, who lives close by. I want to ask if I can stay with her for a little while until I figure things out. I'm completely torn up inside because I've always been open with Alex and my friends about how deeply cheating affected me growing up. My mom cheated on my dad when I was young, and it destroyed our family. Then, when I had my first boyfriend, he cheated on me too. So yeah, even though this was just a prank, it hit every raw nerve I've ever had. And even now, I can't help but wonder if I overreacted, like maybe I should have just stayed and gone along with the party. But at the time, all I felt was betrayal. I haven't touched my phone since. I'm typing all this from my laptop because I honestly don't know how to face any of them right now. Maybe I just need space. Maybe with time, I'll figure out what to say. I did some really regrettable things back when I found out my first boyfriend was cheating. I went completely off the rails. I not only exposed him on Facebook, but I mentioned the guy he was cheating on me with, dragged in his parents, and even outed him publicly without his consent. I took the post down 2 days later, but by then the damage was already done. He ended up moving to a different area altogether to get away from the fallout. Looking back, I'm still deeply ashamed of how I handled that. It's one of those things I wish I could take back every single time it crosses my mind. When my aunt eventually found out about what I'd done, she gave me a serious reality check. She didn't sugarcoat it either. She told me point blank that what I did wasn't normal and that I needed professional help. And she was right. I ended up seeing a psychiatrist and was diagnosed with severe depression. The doctor also mentioned that I had some deep, unresolved trauma. That part confused my aunt until I opened up about what happened 6 years earlier. Once I told her everything, she understood completely. She hugged me tightly and cried, heartbroken that she hadn't known what I was going through back then. Since then, she's really stepped up and taken on a motherly role in my life. She helped me get into therapy, made sure I was taking the right meds, and has supported me every step of the way. She's honestly become the kind of mom I always wished I had. My ex and I don't talk much now, but we've made peace with each other. We're on good terms, and I'm thankful for that closure. Now that all that's out in the open, here's the actual update. After I posted my original story, I packed a bag that night and drove to my aunt's place. It's not too far, but it still took a bit of a drive to get there. When I arrived, she welcomed me with open arms. I thanked her for letting me crash at her place for a while, and she gave me one of those tight, reassuring hugs and told me I was always welcome there. She helped me carry my things to the guest room and even helped me unpack. Honestly, she's incredible. I love her to death. She's everything a mom should be. But after I settled in, reality came knocking again. I still hadn't looked at my phone since everything went down, and I'd been avoiding it like the plague. Just thinking about opening it made my chest tighten. Still, I knew I couldn't dodge it forever. The second I powered it back on, my lock screen blew up hundreds of texts, missed calls, messages from group chats. Even though I was anxious, I opened our main friend group chat first. At the top, the messages were chaotic, everyone panicking, asking where I was, trying to figure out what went wrong. But the tone started to shift the further I scrolled. Eventually, the messages turned into apologies. They said they didn't know that particular prank was going to happen and that it was never part of the plan. One friend even pointed fingers at the woman who had been on top of Alex, saying she never trusted her to begin with. By the end, they were just hoping I was okay and begging me to respond. I guess they noticed I'd read the chat, because almost immediately after I finished scrolling, new messages popped up asking if I was alright and where I'd gone. More apologies came pouring in. They said they had no idea things would unfold the way they did. They claimed the original prank plan was completely different, and that even they were blindsided. That's when I knew I needed to hear their side of the story before jumping to conclusions. I also knew I owed them an apology for ghosting them without saying a word. According to them, the whole thing started in a separate group chat that didn't include me, just Alex and our mutual friends. The plan was to throw me a surprise birthday party. Pretty straightforward. But then Alex added a few of his college friends to the group chat. He said they wanted to be part of the celebration and also wanted to meet me. That's where things took a turn. One of Alex's college friends pitched a prank idea. Alex would pretend to be attacked by a serial killer, someone dressed up with a fake bloody knife, while lying on the couch. The idea was to freak me out, film my reaction, and then immediately reveal it was a joke. My friends were hesitant, but they were reassured that the prank would be short and everything would be revealed quickly. Once I reacted, everyone would pop out with cake and presents, and we'd all have a laugh. On the day of the party, everything seemed to be going according to plan. Alex's college friends had everyone hiding while they set up the prank. But when I walked through the door, there was no fake killer. No costume. No prop knife. Just a girl on top of my boyfriend. And everyone hiding, thinking the plan was in motion. After I turned and left, Alex apparently shoved the girl off him and ran after me. Some of the others followed too, while others stayed behind, confused. They asked what happened to the original plan and why the girl wasn't in costume like she was supposed to be. But she just stood there silently, saying nothing. A few minutes later, Alex returned to the apartment, crying. He told everyone to leave and went straight to the bedroom. The girl followed him in, which weirded everyone out, but shortly after that, they heard him yelling at her, telling her to get out. She left crying. And the rest of them stood around in stunned silence, trying to piece everything together. Before long, they realized I had completely disappeared. They kept trying to reach out, but I had already turned my phone off and vanished for the night. They eventually gave up and went home, hoping I'd get in touch. Later, Alex's college friends messaged me too, apologizing profusely for the prank going sideways and insisting they never intended for it to turn into what it did. Most of them were ignored, but a few also sent videos they had taken that backed up the story. They showed the setup process, conversations about the prank, and what led up to it. They just wanted to clear the air and make sure I was okay. After hearing everything, I felt awful for disappearing without a word. I apologized to my friends again, and told them that none of this was their fault. They were so kind, they said they understood, that I didn't need to make anything up to them, and that they were just happy I was safe. They also invited me to a proper, drama-free birthday celebration this weekend. This time, no Alex. No college friends. Just the people I trust. Of course, I happily said yes to the late birthday celebration and thanked my friends for sticking by me through all of this. Honestly, I don't think I can ever fully express how much I appreciate them. They've shown me what real friendship looks like. The next morning, my aunt knocked on my bedroom door and woke me up. She sounded irritated, so I already had a pretty good idea who was downstairs. Sure enough, it was Alex. He was standing at the front door with a gorgeous bouquet of flowers and a box of my favorite chocolates in hand. He looked great, as usual, but his face told a different story. His eyes were puffy and red, like he hadn't stopped crying for days. I asked how he found out where I was staying, and he explained that as soon as I turned my phone back on, an app we both use pinged him with my location. It's one of those real-time location sharing apps we downloaded a while ago to stay connected, and I had totally forgotten about it. I was a little annoyed that he actually showed up at my aunt's house, but he was already there, so I figured I might as well hear what he had to say. He basically confirmed everything my friends had told me, but then he added more details they hadn't known. Apparently, his old college friends had recently reconnected with him. They tracked down his Facebook after years of no contact and messaged him out of the blue, wanting to catch up. When he told them he had a boyfriend now, they were excited. Turns out they'd suspected he was bi all along but had never brought it up. He talked about me, told them he and my friends were planning a surprise party for my birthday, and they instantly wanted in. Once they were added to the planning chat, they started throwing out ideas for how to make it more memorable. That's when one of the girls, Anna, suggested pulling a prank. Alex's college friends were immediately into the idea, mostly because they'd seen similar stuff on TikTok and thought it'd be hilarious. My friends were a little hesitant, but eventually they agreed on the condition that the prank would be short and harmless. Anna volunteered to be the serial killer for the prank, since it was her idea. Everyone had their role set and the plan seemed locked in. The day of the party came, and when Anna and Alex got into their positions for the joke, he noticed she wasn't wearing her costume. No fake knife, no blood, nothing. He asked her about it, and all she said was she forgot. Alex offered to go grab the costume and props, but Anna insisted there wasn't enough time and that I'd be walking in any second. At that point, he was really uncomfortable and wanted to pull the plug, but before he could do anything, I opened the door and saw, well, what I saw. He admitted that he initially laughed at my reaction because it matched exactly what he expected. But the moment he realized how it looked and remembered my past trauma, he panicked. He called everyone out, hoping it would make things better and give me some context. When that didn't work and I bolted, he pushed Anna off of him and ran after me, but he couldn't catch up. He said the full weight of what happened didn't hit him until I drove off. That's when it all came flooding into my history, my reaction, the prank gone horribly wrong. He returned home crying and told everyone to leave. Then, without asking, Anna followed him into our room. He kept telling her to leave and that he was fine, but then she said something that flipped a switch. So, does this mean you're single now? That's when it clicked for him. She'd sabotaged the prank on purpose. Furious, he yelled at her to get out, and she finally left, clearly humiliated. By the time he finished telling me all of this, Alex was in tears again. He hugged me so tightly and told me how sorry he was, how much he loved me, and how terrified he was of losing me. And even after everything, I still loved him too. I could feel the sincerity in his words, and I started crying too. After a few minutes of us just holding each other, he let go and gently asked if I'd come back to the apartment with him. But he also said that if I needed more time, he'd wait, no pressure, no guilt. I leaned in and gave him a kiss. Then I said, only if you help me pack my stuff. Of course, I gave my aunt the biggest hug before I left. I told her how thankful I was for everything she'd done. She was happy to see things had been resolved, but she also gave Alex a very pointed look and joked that if he ever hurt me again, she'd kidnap me herself and take me somewhere safe. Alex laughed, but we both knew he took that warning seriously. Now I'm back at the apartment. Funny enough, Alex offered to get rid of the couch, the one used in the prank, but I told him not to bother. It's a really nice couch, and honestly, what happened wasn't the couch's fault. It was a mess, yes, but not one anyone fully intended to cause. We've patched things up. I've forgiven him, and he's forgiven me. My friends are relieved everything worked out, and I think they're even planning to include Alex in the rescheduled party, though I haven't asked yet. We'll see. I also plan to reach out to my therapist soon, per my aunt's very wise suggestion, and set up some new sessions. This whole thing took a toll on me emotionally, and I know I still have some healing to do. I realize this update might not be the dramatic resolution some people were expecting. And honestly, I came close to walking away from it all. But I'm glad I waited. I'm glad I listened. I'm glad I got the full story before making a choice I could have regretted forever. I still trust my boyfriend. I still trust my friends. They were honest, they had the receipts, and I believe them. This will probably be my final update, since everything seems to have come full circle. But if something major happens, I might check back in. Thank you again to everyone who read this, reached out, gave advice, or simply wished me well. You helped me more than you know.